Before the world starts spinning fast, I pause and take my stand. Coffee in hand, I lace up truth with heaven's battle plan. No fear, no doubt, I suit up strong, his armor fits just right. I'm walking tall, I'm prayed up now, I'm ready for the fight. Wrap me in truth, no lies allowed, I'll walk this road with my head unbowed. No fake disguise, no twisted words, just gospel truth, pure and undisturbed. Armor of God, my morning song is mine, I move along. Shield of faith and sworn in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory is mine, I won't retreat. Guard my heart, Lord, keep it clean, your righteousness my daily sheen. No shame, no guilt, no hidden stain, I wear your grace like a holy chain. Armor of God, my morning song, in his might I move along. Shield of faith and sworn in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on the ways, peace on my feet, victory is mine, I won't retreat. Loose lace tight with peace I bring, good news echoes when I sing. I step with calm through storm and flame, each stride I take I lift your name. Armor of God, my morning song, in his might I move along. Shield of faith and sworn in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. Mind renewed, no fear inside, salvation's crown, my holy God. Thoughts aligned with heaven's view, I see the world through what is true. Armor of God, my morning song, in his might I move along. Shield of faith and sworn in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. Word in hand, I speak with fire, sharper than steel, it lifts me high. No weapon formed can take me down. I fight with faith, I wear the crown. Armor of God, my morning song, in his might I move along. Shield of faith and sworn in hand, in his armor I firmly stand. Truth on my ways, peace on my feet, victory's mine, I won't retreat. So here I stand, the day begun, armored up till setting sun. With every breath I walk his way, in truth and love I face the day.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It's been a while, but busy with work and appointments and all that kind of crazy stuff, but hopefully soon that will be coming to an end. First off, let's get the nitty-gritty out of the way. All of our sponsors are down below in the description. Please check them out, especially, listen up folks, if you are ailing in pretty much any way, have aches and pains, old or new, check out my LifeWave link down below. Take a look at it. If you think it's something that might help you out, and even if you don't think so, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. You can contact me there through the website, or Mr. E at IRLMediaHQ.com. So I got a lot to cover today. I'm probably not going to do too much screen sharing. You'll probably be looking at my ugly mug for pretty much the whole time, but I have a lot of things that I want to go through. Some of this stuff is from a few days ago as well, but I think it's still pertinent as to today. I'm gonna kind of just show you what's going on in the news, and I'm gonna go through all of it. And I think there might be a few things that I might interject with at the beginning or during, at the end of maybe each article or whatever we're going to talk about. But I want to end the show today with my take on what's going on and why I'm feeling a little bit irritated. I shouldn't be, because I kind of know. I think maybe it's just because I'm waiting for this stuff to hit the head. But anyway, let's get on with this. I got a lot to go through. So today, the first thing I want to talk about is some of the things going on related to Iran. Okay. Right now, the big thing that's in the news is NATO. And basically, if you guys remember Trump's last State of the Union address, when he basically looked at the Democrats and said, for everybody here, that is America first, and for Americans first, I want you to stand up, and how the Democrats stayed sitting. Well, he basically pulled the same thing on NATO and the European Union, because most, if not all, of the European Union partners are also part of NATO. So he basically put them on call. So he's kind of hinting that there's going to be some major repercussions coming for NATO allies refusing to help secure the Strait of Hormuz. And he talked to the speaker, and he said, I'll be reporting to you in the House and the Senate, and I'll say, why are we protecting countries that won't protect us? He says one or two will not do it that we've protected for 40 years at tens of billions of dollars. And he also went on to say that was a weakness of NATO. We protect them, but when in need, they won't protect us. So they're all coming out and giving their bullshtippy responses. But the one that kind of hit me more directly is Germany's defense minister. He basically is publicly admitting that Europe offers nothing of value or substance to NATO. And he also goes on to say that Europe has let in so many immigrants from Islamic countries that if they did get involved in the war, the Islamists they've let in would start a killing spree that Europe is incapable of doing anything about. In other words, Europe is already conquered. So let me do a flip on this, okay? So why isn't the USA saying the same thing? Because you definitely aren't going to get the Democrats saying, well, if we get in there, all of our sleeper cells that we let in are going to attack us. Well, they're mum's the word. They're not saying a damn thing about it. But they probably aren't aware that we've already been picking them up since about 15 minutes after Trump was gave his oath to office and had his hand on the Bible for his second term. Within 15 minutes of that being done, we had our military and DHS, ICE, all of them were out there picking up all the baddies. Okay, so I'm not saying that they're all picked up and secured, but I'm saying the worst of the worst, the top echelon. So basically, what we might have are some lone wolves out there, but they have no direction. They don't have somebody telling them what to do. They don't know how to plan their own operations, so they're going to go out there and they're going to pull some shit and then they're going to get killed. Okay? So, yeah, head on a swivel. I'm not saying that I'm not worried, but what I am saying is that the fear porn that's going on out there isn't as bad as what a lot of influencers out there and certain people that are supposed to be in the know are letting on. Okay, so come more recent. Okay, Joe Kent, and I was thinking this guy was like a super good guy. He was saying all the right things. He was warning about the terrorist cells in the United States. But then all of a sudden, he flips. Now he's resigned. And his resignation letter basically states that he's resigning today. And I'll read part of it. He says, after much reflection, I've decided to resign from my position as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, effective today. I cannot, in good conscience, support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. All right, hold on a second. That is definitely a mirror, okay? He's basically speaking out against Israel, who he's actually been working for, okay? I have a little bit of receipts on that, okay? So, from what I'm seeing, it says his cabal background traces directly to his post-Green Beret transition into intelligence-adjacent circles funded by Rockefeller-adjacent think tanks and Mossad-linked private contractors operating out of Tel Aviv and London. So I guess you got to ask yourself why, since he is connected to Mossad, why would he also be against the very country that he worked on behalf of before his time under Trump? Okay, so his public flip was scripted theater from the outset. Trump placed him in this role precisely because internal dossiers already mapped Kent's pre-appointment ties to the very cabal factions now pulling the strings behind the Iran escalation. And we're going to dig into that a little deeper because I want you all to open your minds to some things that maybe you haven't thought about. There's a few people that I've been talking to in the background that I've put some of this information out to, so they're kind of in the know. They might be in the audience watching this morning. Unfortunately, I can't see the chat right now because I'm focused here on the information that I want to put out to you. Okay? So they already had an internal dossier on Joe Kent. All right? So when we look at this resignation, okay, I don't think it's not a betrayal, but activation of sleeper protocol. Okay, this is designed to create media optics that paint Trump as a dragged into war while protecting the real architects type thing. Okay, so Joe Kent's pre-nomination emails that were supposedly leaked apparently showed Kent pressuring analysts to alter assessments on Middle East threats. So this is a tactic that mirrors classic CIA and Mossad playbook operations that are used to manufacture consent for endless wars, exactly the same manipulation that fueled the Iraq WMD lies under the Bush-era neocons. Now, we go back and we look at Iraq. Within days of everything started, you guys remember shock and awe? And then a few days later, Bush is on the aircraft carrier stating mission accomplished. Okay? But then everything dragged on and on and on and on. Because what people fail to realize and I'll get into it a little bit more in a little bit, people fail to realize who the real puppet masters are. Okay? So, I was told that Trump's team flagged these patterns during vetting, but advanced the nomination anyway, knowing Kent's far-right public persona masked deeper alliance to the Khazarian mafia bloodlines that control both sides of the Israel lobby. Think about that, and you can start putting the puzzle pieces together. Okay, so his resignation letter's sudden pivot against Israeli pressure is the tell. It shields the true handlers, Rothschild financial conduits, and the black nobility intermediaries in the city of London. The city within the city. I've talked about this in the last couple of live streams that I've done. Okay? So, while doing this, it's attempting to fracture Trump's base with manufactured dissent. So we're gonna talk about some of that stuff a little bit more as we go, but I want to help you all to put some pieces of this puzzle together. Okay? So, all right, let me get back over there. I was just peeking in on the chat. I don't see anything coming in yet. Okay, so some of the things that we have going on around the world, besides Iran, are what's going on in Cuba. Okay, we already saw how Venezuela took mere hours. Okay? Now, we didn't even have to step foot on the ground in Cuba, and we didn't have to fire a single missile. Okay? But, so President Trump just announced that he will have the honor of, quote-unquote, taking Cuba. He says, whether I free it, take it, I can do anything I want with it. They're a very weakened nation. He said Senator Marco Rubio has been working on Cuba behind the scenes as well. So, there's a little bit more on this too. So, the powers that be in Cuba have requested to talk with President Trump. They're basically giving up because they know they haven't got a dog in this game. So, if you think about what we did in Venezuela, Cuba was actually running Venezuela. Okay, well, Cuba and Iran. Okay, so they were the puppet masters that were handling Venezuela. Iran was also involved in Cuba. All right, are you getting what I'm throwing down here? But who's controlling Iran? Now, I mentioned that just a little bit ago when I talk about the city within the city of London. Okay, think of State Street. Think of Lloyd's of London. These are the power brokers in Europe, the people behind the scenes that are actually controlling not only what was going on in Venezuela, what is almost finished being done in Cuba, what's currently going on in Mexico. Okay, because Spain is involved. Spain is actually controlling Mexico to a point, but who's controlling Spain? It all goes back to London. Now, think about why Keir Starmer is taking the position that he's taking. Okay, Trump put him on the spot, and he's like, okay, yeah, you don't want to help us? Well, we don't need your help anyway. But then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we'll send something, we'll do something. See, Keir Starmer is also a puppet to the city within the city. It's just easier to call them the cabal that are behind it. Pretty much everything that's going on that's dastardly around the world. Okay? So, right now, if you think about it, we got to go back to the 1950s, and we know that the Rothschilds were also involved in converting China over from a peaceful nation that wanted to pretty much stay to themselves to growing them into a country that now aspires to be the number one superpower on the planet Earth. Okay? So some of these are the people that I've been talking about for a long time, the Rothschilds. Who was actually involved in creating the state of Israel? The Rothschilds. Okay? Do you all know what was written into the Balfour Papers on pertaining to Israel? There's a clause in there that at any point in time in the future, after this was signed and Israel was made a state, that England, in this case the Rothschilds, could go in there and take control and basically be the rulers of the state of Israel. Are you getting what I'm laying down now, folks? This is pretty serious stuff. And I believe, because lately I've been seeing a lot of talk from certain people that are saying that they know who the Antichrist is. A lot of them are saying that it's Prince William. Some are saying that it's Charles. That one of these two people are going to go in there and basically do the whole abomination of desolation thing. Okay, that's probably going to be in the future. I think King Charles will be dead by the time that happens. So if it does happen and England sticks themselves in there, it's probably going to be Prince William. But I digress. Okay, so anyway, let's go back here into my bookmarks. So we talked about Cuba. Yeah, Cuba is hurting pretty bad. They're, the power grid's out. They're capitulating to Trump. They basically are like, hey, we're willing to come to the table and talk, because they know that there isn't a single other nation anywhere in the world that can stand up to the United States military. Okay? You could take all of Europe, including Russia, including India, all of the big militaries, Turkey, throw China in the mix. And where we stand right now, I saw this play out probably about 3 or 4 months ago. There was a video that went out that somebody did kind of like a United States against the world thing, and the United States actually came out the winner. And interestingly enough, what's going on right now in the Strait of Hormuz and what's happened with some of these other countries like Venezuela, Cuba, some of those were mentioned. We basically we took almost all, if not all, of China's power oil away from them. There's nobody right now that can stand up to us. I mean, UK's got all their aircraft carriers and mothballs. A lot of the EU countries don't even have a navy. France, they don't have much. I mean, most of what these countries have are maybe some of their special forces people for ground warfare, guerrilla warfare. Okay, but we've got the best of the best. If you take everything from Delta, which is the known top tier special ops group, there's others that are, there's maybe one or two that are even more than Delta. But if you take Delta, the Navy SEALs, you take the Rangers, you take all of our special forces units, and you match it up to anything any other country's got, none of them compare. Some are close, but none of them compare. And I don't believe that any of them would be able to stand up to us for very long, considering we can own any country's airspace. It's already been proven, okay? We showed that with Venezuela within a couple of hours. I think within a couple of days, we've done the same thing with Iran. And now we've got our NATO allies refusing to even put patrol ships out or anything out to help sweep for mines so that ships can go through. But I forget who it was that leaked the video. I watched it the other day. I think it might have been Icons 2020, maybe, or it might have been. It could have been Michael Jaco too. I think maybe it was Jaco, but the media and Iran. So basically, the media, Iran, and Iran's puppet masters, they are the ones that control the media, okay? So the media is putting out all this false stuff, and it doesn't matter what media. We could be looking at United States media, we could be looking at European media, we could be looking at Middle Eastern media like Al Jazeera, others like that. They're all putting out some very similar stuff, or they're parroting things that have been put out, which have been already proven to be false information. Like our 3 F-15s that supposedly got shot down, that didn't happen. The Shahed drones that supposedly hit the USS Abraham Lincoln, didn't happen. They didn't come close. I'm even beginning to think that some of the damage that they're talking about of drones hitting some of our bases in the Middle East, and I'm not saying that we don't have injured or deceased military personnel. I'm not saying that the KC-135 refueling aircraft didn't crash. What I'm saying is that we're not getting the truth from the media, and most of this very well could be misinformation to make people think that the United States military's morale is going down. More recently, this morning, I was reading about one of our other aircraft carriers. Was this? I believe it was the Reagan. I have to go back and look, but that might be under the Iran bookmark here. Let me just take a peek and scroll down. But they were saying something to the effect that there was a fire aboard this ship. Yeah, I didn't bookmark it, but they were saying that there was a fire aboard this ship and 600 beds burned. But the ship is still operational, but it's going to go into port in Greece someplace for a few days for an investigation or some other thing. So it's interesting that this story was first leaked by a media source out there with nothing to back it up. But then there were some posts by U.S. CENTCOM saying that there was a fire. But even Grok, when somebody questioned Grok if it was true, Grok said, no, the story's being hyped. The whole thing isn't true. And we all know that Grok is very left-leaning. So that I found that interesting that even Grok corrected them on their article. Okay, so as I start putting these pieces of the puzzle together for you, I'm hoping that once the puzzle's together, you see a picture of where the real threat, and I don't even think it's a real threat anymore, because to be honest with you, I think that one well-placed cruise missile could take out that in an instant anyway. Okay? So, all right, let's see. We covered Iran, we covered Cuba. Greenland's still out there, and I think that, usually the Dutch are very eager to participate and help with any NATO affairs, but not so much now because of, our stance with Greenland. So that's really the only thing that I have towards Greenland. Okay, and then on Ukraine, I had a few things that are directly related to what's going on in Iran, and then how it directs into with the EU, and how the EU is working in concert to remove patriot leaders for certain countries. Okay, so first of all, recently Zelensky has been touting that, hey, we will, well, actually, I'm going to go back 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, Ukrainians were posting in Telegram, and I believe there might have been a post or two on X, but most of my information I get regarding Ukraine comes directly off of Telegram. And the Ukrainian government, and maybe some government sympathizers, quite possibly the Azov bunch of people that run these channels, were posting that the United States was using Ukraine's drones already in the Middle East. That turned out to be false. Okay, President Trump came out in the open and said, we don't need Ukraine's drones for protection. Now, I want to bounce off on a little thread here real quick. You've all heard of the Golden Dome, I'm sure. Do you know that the Golden Dome is already active and it's in place, and it's already protecting certain places in the Middle East, more likely our bases, any place that we have any personnel or we have to work out of? It's protecting the United States. That's why the whole Iranian drones threat that supposedly was supposed to be to hit California, that whole thing lasted about 2 days, maybe 2 days in the news feeds, and then now you notice it's gone. It's not even there. Nobody's talking about it. Okay, it just went away. So let's move back over here to Ukraine. About a week and a half ago, a high-ranking counterintelligence officer was in Hungary with a group of men, and they were escorting or transporting this convoy out of Hungary to take it into Ukraine. So there was, I don't know the exact amount. I see pictures here and gold bars, and there was quite a bit. Let me see if it actually states how much money there was. It's not stating on this one here. In the Telegram one, it stated that it was in the millions and multiple millions of dollars, plus multiple $1 million in gold bars. I think the whole thing was like 40 million in cash and 9 kilograms of gold. So they were saying that it was a money laundering transfer intended to fund Zelensky and his intelligence chiefs. Okay, so Hungary intercepted this. They took the vehicles and all of the personnel into custody. Within a few days, after interrogating these people that were escorting / driving and trying to take this money out of Ukraine, after they were interviewed, we'll call it, interrogated, they were released. And then, you know how little puppet master Cokehead Z is, he puffs his little baby chest out, beats on his chest, and he's like, you got to give us our vehicles back and our money. Well, they eventually released the vehicles and let Ukraine have the vehicles back, but Hungary kept the money because it was Hungary's money to begin with. It was stolen, and they were trying to secret it out in a big money laundering scheme that was supposed to take, and what they were saying that it was supposed to fund Zelensky and his intelligence chiefs. Okay, so basically spy money and Zelensky's pocket money. Okay, and the funny thing is after this happened, we see Belgium and Germany and France and Spain and these other countries jumping on Orban like he is the bad guy on this and trying to make him look bad. But then it was also leaking out too that Belgium, van der Leyen, is working with other EU countries to either overthrow Orban or to fix the vote so that he cannot get reelected in Hungary. So, again, we're seeing who the puppet masters are, but the puppet masters also have their master. And interestingly enough, if you think about this, every time that Zelensky came to the United States and was making a deal, you know, they were supposed to make a deal to end the war, Russia's ready to make a deal, and as soon as Zelensky did his little news thing in the United States, where did he run directly to? He ran directly back to the UK, Keir Starmer, and who gave him the words from the bosses at State Street from the city within the city. And all of a sudden, Zelensky's like, yeah, we don't like it. We got to talk about that with our EU partners. Well, number one, they're not part of the EU. Even a lot of their so-called backers in the EU are now disavowing that they even want Ukraine to be part of the EU. And NATO doesn't want them either. Because our actor boy, Zelensky, didn't do a very good job acting, and, you know, we already had all the information, but Trump already saw right through him. But we already knew that Ukraine was directly involved. Certain people in Ukraine were involved in the whole Russia hoax. They were involved in that, in trying to take Trump down, they interfered directly in the elections and with taking down a sitting president. Are you getting it all? God, there's so much. And I'm gonna put it out there. And if YouTube wants to shut me down, I still got my Rumble channel and I still got my Big Shoot. I dare you to come after me. I dare you. So let's see. I just want to see, I got people watching, but I don't have anybody chatting or saying, hey, E, good morning, we're here. Nobody's chatting. I mean, maybe the information's too good, or maybe you're all shaking your head saying, oh, that's bullshit. Well, I got more. Okay, I got more. So, we talked about Iran, we talked about Cuba, we talked about Greenland, we talked about Ukraine. Okay, so I had a couple of other things in here from around the world that I wanted to talk about really quick. And I don't think these are like really important yet, but what I want people to start paying attention to now is the bonds. Okay? Listen to what the people are talking about with the bonds. If the situation is as bad as they're saying, the bonds themselves can collapse every market on the planet. Okay? Keep that in mind. Now I'm going to jump over to what they call the 5-power convergence, how 5 nations launched parallel purges within the same 18-month window. Okay? So, this here is another heads up for all the folks out there that think that Russia and China are our enemies. Okay? So, these 5 nations, representatives of, most of them, met in Russia. So we had the United States, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, and India all met in Moscow for a secret meeting. Okay? So a lot of the first meetings happened between November of 2017 and March of 2018, and they're still going on. So every time that we have a meeting that's supposed to be for ending the Ukraine war, they use that also as a chance to get in there to do their updates and to sync up. Okay, so the United States, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, and India, they are allies. Okay? I have a lot of information on this that leads up to it, but I think I'm going to talk about that specifically in another live stream. Okay, because that one's going to take up a lot of time to help put some pieces of the puzzle together to help people understand that there are heads of state that people think are enemies and are not, that are working together. A lot of people say, well, Putin's doing this, or Xi's doing this. We don't hear a lot about India except that they're still buying Russian oil. And Saudi Arabia is kind of quiet on things, but what you don't know is that they either jailed or executed a lot of their, what do you want to call them, their royalty. Okay? There's a lot of them that are no longer with us. But I'm going to go into all that on another, that's a big one. But I just want you to keep that in mind, that we have these people as, now they all have their deep state, and they're all trying to take care of their own deep state as well. And what we're getting mostly that's being released out in the news is word or news about their deep state and what their deep state's doing. Okay? So let me see if that was the last, I believe. I've been talking about secret biolabs for a long time. This one here goes back to March 9th. And this is basically pointing out the people that are directly involved in creating pandemics or biological threats to human lives. Interestingly, a lot of this started taking off way back. We were talking about this on our Discord channel a couple of days ago, if we all remember Wiltshire Boulevard, back in, I want to say it was in either 2019 or 2020. We had special operators come in and they took a nuclear biological threat out at this museum. They went in, they took it out, they cleaned everything, and they got out of there. But getting into the more nefarious stuff, to name some names, there are people that were directly involved, and unfortunately, people, that's why I say head on a swivel. a lot of these little bio labs are happening right under your noses. It could be your next door neighbor. They're doing it in their house or in their basement. Okay, more recently, if you remember, in Las Vegas. So they were caught red-handed. They had the secret bio labs. I think there was a couple of them now that they got in Nevada. But when we talk about other bioweapons and how they pushed the COVID on us, the COVID was the hidden hand kind of pretend thing that got everybody scared and like, oh, I got to go out and get vaccinated against this. The actual bioweapon were the vaccinations and the boosters, people. Unfortunately, if you haven't done a cleansing protocol to get that stuff removed out of your body, what they put into you, you may not be with us much longer, because some of those people died within hours, some died within days, some died within months, and they're still dying. Millions of people have already succumbed to the vaccination and the boosters. So we got Fauci, we got Barack Obama, we got Bill Gates, we got Epstein. They were all colluding together to create another big pandemic and start it in the United States to take out the big threat first and then go out. They were all for knocking the population of the earth down. Okay? So real quick, I want to recap some things that are going on, because this is my around the world thing. We're going to go back and we're going to visit the Middle East and a couple other places here. But going back from Sunday, March 8th, because I haven't done a live stream since then, some of this stuff, it's out there by reputable people, okay? And I can say they're reputable because they're fighting against, I know that these people are fighting against the terrorism and the other stuff that's going on. But they were talking about, now this is what was reported by CENTCOM, which we can trust. The 7th U.S. service member passed away from injuries received during the Iranian regime's initial attacks targeting U.S. troops in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia on March 1st. So when they were throwing their Shaheads in there. Okay, New York City IED suspects' parents are both from Turkey and Afghanistan. FBI says yesterday New York City failed bombers referenced ISIS during questioning. They both traveled to Turkey and other terror training hotspots, law enforcement sources close to the case told the Post. This is the Washington Post. Okay, Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups in Libya appear to be quietly organizing and strengthening their movements, while global attention focuses Iran. Other areas turn into dangerous blind spots. Well, Libya has always been a hot spot, and we found that out back on the second 9/11. Okay, Operation Epic Fury Roaring Lion continues. Well, this was for the 8th day. We're now at the 17th day. Okay, it continues, and we are bombing the shit out of Iran. President Trump held back on taking out the oil refineries and oil, what do they call it? The storage tanks and things like that on Karg Island. He said that if you continue to attack ships in the Strait of Hormuz, then maybe I'm not going to be so nice and I'm going to take it all out. We're going to take all of Iran's money away from them. All their money, most of their money comes from oil. Okay? A New York Police Department bomb squad find 3 devices linked to attempted bombing outside Gracie Mansion in New York City. One of the devices contained TATP, a powerful explosive used in previous terror attacks. The suspects are in federal custody. Now, interestingly enough, it's not mentioned in here, I don't think, but there were also a few fake bomb attempts, again, supposedly aimed at Mamdani. But why would Mamdani is doing everything that the Sharia law book says he's supposed to do, so why would he be attacked by extremists? Okay, I mean, it's kind of an oxymoron, because they won't name these guys as extremist Islamic terrorists. Okay, so we've got the Quds Force Lebanon finance chief Majid Hosseini assassinated at Beirut's Rawacha hotel. 4 IRGC members killed in an Israeli strike on a hotel in Beirut yesterday, according to Al Arabiya sources. Right now, Israel dropped pamphlets on Beirut asking the people to stand up and go against Hezbollah, because Hezbollah has been firing salvos of 100 missiles or more into Israel. One moment. Oh, that was my veteran service officer. I need to talk with him, so I got to get through this quick. So, all right. We've got just all kinds of stuff talking about possible terrorism coming into the United States. Just a lot of stuff here. So if you want to get daily updates on any of the terrorist stuff going on in the United States, or anything that updates with what's going on in the Middle East, follow Apex Guard HQ on X. Okay, so I got to move on here because I'm already, boy, I'm going quite a while here. We're already almost at an hour. I was hoping to wrap it up in an hour at the tops. All right, so Minnesota. We know what's going on with the fraud in Minnesota, and we're all waiting for the day that Ilhan gets and Tampon Tim and all of them involved start getting perp walked. But the interesting thing now is we've connected to California, and there's some huge stuff that's coming out with California. You guys got to look into that. I will probably talk more about it tomorrow, but we're also finding it looks like an apartment building, or maybe an old hotel that was converted into apartments, like a Motel 6 converted to like studio apartments. And a lot of these rooms at this apartment building were listed as the address for hospice care. So there's a huge hospice care thing going on in California, along with the child care and other medical stuff. We're going to find out that California was multiple times more involved in the fraud and how much money was fraudulently taken from U.S. taxpayers. And probably they're talking close to tenfold. And we haven't even hit Chicago. I heard 107 say the other day that when people see what happened in Chicago, it's going to blow their minds. And we haven't even touched New York yet, folks. So it's getting bad. When people find out how much money that they've been stiffed, we're going to find out that is like that's the money that could have been fixing our roads and bridges and all the other stuff that we needed done in the United States, and then using our extra tariff money could have been used to pay off our debt. All right, now speaking of that, this is going to take us back to the United States. We got Mike Lee put a video out, and he is urging everybody in America that sees this video, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, that you need to contact your representative and have them vote yes on the Save America Act. Okay, they're actually talking of they've got like 10 days this month that they're going to be in session. I think Thune's been walking the dog on this, and I think they've been just trying to run it out of time. But I can't believe that these people are so stupid that, I mean, what is their plan to like force President Trump to sign an executive order? Except that most of the states, especially we'll say the blue states or the blue cities, are not following any of President Trump's executive orders that he put out. So that has to be enforced. And it's not going to get enforced until we have the right people in those governments. Okay. I want to mention really quick here. Okay, I want to bring this up. Let's see here. I'm going to share this screen with you for any of you that want to take the time to actually grab the link. I probably didn't include the link in it. Hold on a second. Let me pop over there quick. Normally I keep that. Oh, that's why it's not showing up, because it's really not there. All right, so let me just pop something up. I'll just put something up on the screen for you all. Let's do this. Let's do a little text thing, and I'm gonna call it the link. We're gonna put this in, and we're just gonna say okay. I'm gonna get this down here to fit the screen. And I should probably change the color, maybe. No, I'll just make it a little bit smaller and plop it over here on a black area. So right above me, I just put a link up there. That's the link. This is actually the Restoring the Republic website. This is our current our government. Basically, it's going to be our rightful government, but they're sitting on the bench right now waiting for President Trump to do the things that he's doing to take care of. Go there, check it out, okay? republicfortheunitedstatesofamerica.org. I'll leave that up on the screen there for you. While I'm over here finishing up on, well, I can't do my bookmarks, I don't think, because I got this up. But you guys can pause it and go back to it. So let me just go back to my big ugly mug. And let me get back over to the bookmarks. And I'm finishing off here with the United States, and more specifically on the Save America Act. So we have 93 senators. 93 of the 99 United States senators voted to certify a fraudulent election. So this was back on 2020. Okay? People are bringing this back up again about treason. And they actually, in this video clip, they list every single one of them. Okay, so I'm going to finish this up here. President Trump is saying that he is not going to sign another bill or anything until they bring the Save America Act up and they approve it for his signature. If they don't do it, he's going to do an executive order, and it's going to go anyway. But the question I'm asking, because I just can't figure it out, what would be their reason to force him to do an EO? If you have any comments on that, just put it in the comments down below. Don't worry about doing it in the chat. Just leave some comments for me below on any of the stuff that we covered today. That's pretty much all I got, folks. I wanted to get through all this and help you put some pieces of the puzzle together. But where we need to be looking at right now is the city within the city. They are the hidden hand. They are the top of the pyramid, or maybe almost the top of the pyramid, that are controlling NATO, the EU, the UN, certain folks. So that's who we need to be looking at, and that's who we need to be diving into to see who these people are. Anyway, that's all I got, folks. I will be back in a few days. I got a busy work schedule coming up, but I will be back in a few days, and I will bookmark the best stuff so that we can talk about it. Sorry I didn't give you more notice on the live stream, and thank you for hanging out with me. You guys all have a good day. God bless. Head on a swivel. Put on that whole suit of armor. Be safe. Peace out.
When morning breaks, they pass the page. Their words a trap, a scripted stage. Each line they write with practiced art to tear your truth and world apart. From hidden rooms where plans are laid, they craft each storm and false parade. The poison seeps through even news, while puppet masters light the fuse. Stand up, fight back, reclaim your side. Don't let them dim your inner light. Break every chain they've wrapped around. Your spirit won't stay underground. This war of minds, this battle cry, will shake their towers from the sky. Old Edward's tricks still rule the trade. Each fear and wish precisely made. They sell you pain in pretty shows, while programming which way it flows. Your blood runs hot, your thoughts run cold. The stories break and ratings fold. They split the world in black and white, while freedom fades into the night. Stand up, fight back, reclaim your sight. Don't let them dim your inner light. Break every chain they've wrapped around. Your spirit won't stay underground. This war of minds, this battle cry, will shake their towers from the sky. Every screen and printed sheet, the same old lies they still repeat. Their mockingbirds sing false refrains, while legions pull the mental chains. We dance their steps from sun to moon, or march into their twisted tune. But truth breaks through like morning rays when questions pierce their practiced haze. They track each step and thought you make, each choice you think you freely take. But power shifts when eyes grow clear and manufactured lies appear. So drop the script upon the ground, let freedom's voice ring true and sound. Your story's yours to write anew, with every word authentic, true. Stand tall, break free, reclaim your sight. Don't let them steal your sacred light. Tear down the walls they built around. Your spirit rises, freedom bound. This war of minds, this battle cry, will